record to this computer and hope that works. Okay, so hopefully this is going to work because we know how great we are with technology around here. So I'm here with Tanya. I'm pointing. I do that. I don't know. I do that as well quite a lot when I'm online with clients. I like tap at their bodies as well, and it's like they can't see me.
I realize how pointy I am.
Move this bit. Yeah.
I would have to go like this to you. How would you go to me? Would you go like that?
So for those of you that know me, because we're probably going to put this on 2 areas of Facebook. So for those of you that know me, I'm Karyn Clark, and you'll probably be watching this for those of you that know me on the Evolve Life Somatics page. And I'm here with Tanya Miller. And Tanya's page.
So, Tanya Miller. You'll probably see this on my Facebook page for McTimoney Chiropractic, which is Chiropractic Health Clinic. And I also am a SIRPA Practitioner, which is helping people resolve their pain using mind-body techniques, stress management, that sort of thing. So we thought that actually somatics and SIRPA work really well together. So we've kind of made a little bit of an alliance.
Yeah, we're gonna see what happens with it. We're just gonna roll with it and see what happens. This is kind of based off conversations that Tanya and I both have, and you know, we've both come from a chiropractic background, and as Tanya just said, SIRPA and somatics seem to go really well together. So over this week, because it's Mental Health Awareness Week, we thought we'd put some information together, some hints, tips, have a bit of a chat about our own experiences around mental health, and yeah, just connect with you all and see if we can give some advice, give some help, would you say?
Yeah, well, we were having a discussion yesterday, weren't we, about sitting with things that we're not comfortable with rather than going and reaching for the chocolate, which is what I would like to do. And actually you wanted some chocolate yesterday, and we were talking about how actually you can just sit with the discomfort, because why we want to do these things, why we want to reach out for them, is actually because we're not really feeling comfortable. So actually that's just kind of getting rid of that discomfort. So can we try and sit with the discomfort, which is what I did yesterday and what you did as well. And that's kind of what you teach in somatics, I think, about just sitting with like the feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting, isn't it, how it's a physical thing and it's an emotional thing, and the two very much blur in the middle as well. So from a somatics point of view, yeah, we're always saying about when we create that change within our body, when we've moved our body in a different way, we've released those chronically tight muscles, our proprioception is reacting to that. And so it feels unusual, it feels different. And we don't want to be in pain. We shouldn't be laying there in pain and just ignoring that and laying there regardless. But if it feels a bit awkward, it doesn't feel normal because it's different to our habits, then our natural reaction is to shift and wiggle and put ourselves back into that habit that we've just spent, you know, half an hour working really hard to unravel. So just sitting in that discomfort is where we want to be. That's where our brain is really learning and integrating and creating a new experience for us. And that's the same with from a mental health aspect, which is what we were talking about yesterday, you know, when we really wanted chocolate.
Well, there was a psychotherapist I once used to talk to. What she said was that the first piece of chocolate is just because you like the taste of chocolate and you want it. After that, it's emotional. And I kind of used to go, okay, well, there's one for me, and there's 4 pieces for my emotions. But yeah, so I think this is my thing that I'm going to do. I don't know if I can't have chocolate, but I'm going to pause and just see if I can sit with it and feel that discomfort. Is it something I need to deal with? Is it something I need to journal with? Can I just sit with how my body feels? Can I do a little bit of arch and flatten on the old somatics and sort of like feel into what my body's doing. Yeah, that's what I'm going to experiment with this week, I think. How about you?
Yeah, and you know, for me, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I'm kind of used to it from a body point of view of making those physical changes and experiencing things differently physically within my body, but actually the emotional aspects for me, I feel as if I tend to want to then deal with it. I've never been so good at sitting with it. So that's my learning thing, is that sitting with what I, you know, teach from a physical point of view in my emotional health. And I know it's interesting because I think with certain types of meditation, that's very much the case, isn't it? To not even make judgment on that. And I'll talk about that a lot from a somatics point of view, is, you know, it's not right or wrong. And it's not about me judging people that I'm working with. And it's certainly not about judging ourselves. It's about just noticing what it is and not even labeling it as something, you know, just noticing what it is and sit with that and being aware of that, and that's okay. It's okay to be that way and to experience that.
But we don't necessarily need to analyze it, do we? It's just a case of, okay, that feeling is coming up and I'm just going to allow it to happen and process, rather than kind of having to put a label on it, having to analyze it and process it all the way through. You don't necessarily need to do that. Sometimes it's helpful, but sometimes you can just allow it to pass through.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think one of the things that both of us work with clients is, and that most of us want in some way in our life, is change, isn't it? It's we want to create change. We want to create change in our business. We want to create change in our health, whatever it is. And yet the minute we start to do that, we get a bit, oh, I'm not sure I like this new space. So we create this new space and this new way of being, and then our brain, and it's that subcortex, it's that deep, you know, habituated learning, then makes us go, oh, not sure about being here, this is a bit unknown, and let's just go back to that nice safe place that, although we don't want to be in that nice safe place either, we know that, so we'll just go back to there. And that's where it's a real kind of dichotomy for us, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and we can use these techniques, and not for like just resisting chocolate, but we can actually sit with the pain.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling some pain, I've done this with my knee pain, is actually to just allow it, just sit with it, and allow, like, and from your somatics point of view, because this is what I've picked up from you, is actually to just sit and feel like the experience in your body and think, actually, do you know what? I'm really holding some tension in one direction or another, and can I let that go? And I found that quite helpful, and that's where the two kind of mix quite well. And that, I think that's what we found when we've been talking, that actually we're very much along the same lines.
Yeah, it's that awareness as well, isn't it? It's being aware of it. And I think in some ways, I don't know, maybe it's just from my personal experience, in some ways it's easier for me to pay attention and be aware of my physical body and to notice. And we always say you can't change what you don't know. You need to know what's going on first to then be able to create change. Is it as easy to notice that in terms of your mental health? You know, I think for me, you know, and I've suffered with mental health problems and issues for 20 years, over 20 years now. When you're in that, it's harder, but in my experience, but I suppose it's the same way, that sometimes when you're in pain, it's harder to then be aware of it, to then make change. And is that the same, would you say, with mental health?
Well, I think that quite often there are some people that I see in my practice who are really aware of their bodies, and they're aware of their emotions, and there are other people who really have no awareness at all, and you're probably the same in your practice. And it is something that you can start to learn, and I've certainly started to work with some of my clients to help them to become more aware. And I did have a patient who kind of started to identify, do you know what, my back went into spasm this morning and I just had a big row with someone at work, and I can connect the two together. So sometimes you can and sometimes you can't, and actually it doesn't matter all the time if you can't connect it, but you will start to notice a pattern probably in your life and in your body. And the more aware you can become of what's going on, the more that's going to help you to identify and go, do you know what, something just bugged me there, and I'm just going to sit with it and I'm just going to let it go.
So it's just a case of just, stopping and paying attention, maybe just for a couple of minutes, just physically stopping and noticing without trying to create any change to it.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, if I suddenly get a pain, I go, oh, okay, what just went on there for me? And sometimes I can identify and sometimes I can't. And that's where I quite like to use some of your techniques in your somatics and go, actually, let's just do a little bit of a, how is everything feeling, and notice it. Do a body scan. I mean, both of us in our techniques, that's what we're doing, is we're doing a body scan, aren't we?
Yeah.
And just see, okay, how does that feel? Where is the tension? How does that feel in that spot there? And what comes up for me? And also, is there, am I holding stress, tension, whatever? I mean, for me, I tend to hold it in here. I don't know about you, but this is, I can feel tension rising up in here, if that's where it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's coming up. Yeah, definitely think I almost can't breathe with it.
Yeah. And it can be that kind of pit of the stomach, can't it, as well? That kind of inner kind of draw.
You know, when people say, I feel sick to my stomach, you know, that it kind of, it does do that, doesn't it?
It is that, isn't it? Or even like into the throat, people, you know, will experience it like that sickness sort of into the throat feeling as well.
Yeah, or I could hardly speak, I was upset. Yeah, because it just kind of knocks you up there, doesn't it?
Yeah. So just, I suppose it's just about being okay. It's being okay with not feeling okay.
Yes.
It's okay
that's
to
exactly
feel
it.
way,
yeah.
And to not suddenly think as if I need to change this. I need to immediately make a change with it, whether it's emotional or physical. It's being okay with not feeling that way, not feeling as if you suddenly have to do something about it, and just taking a moment to stop and sit within why and what you're feeling.
Yeah, and that you don't need to go and create change to avoid feeling it by like eating, drinking, creating a different movement or whatever. Just why is it happening, and what can you sit with and acknowledge?
I think that permission that it's okay is a big thing, and a big thing for a lot of people. I think, you know, I'm classic to be somebody that's like, okay, I need to do something about this. So
well, that's like, we're chiropractors. People come for us for a fix. So, like, you know, a natural thing is to, we need to fix it. Yeah. Actually, maybe you can just let it be and just acknowledge it and let it. And one of the things that I teach my clients is, do you know what? When you get a little twinge, just acknowledge that it's a little twinge. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to start into a big back spasm. And actually, if you start to panic about it, then that's going to create more tension in your body. But if you just go, yeah, there was a little twinge, I'm just going to relax my body and it'll probably go away, then there's a good chance that it will.
Yeah, absolutely. But that, again, that's so true from an emotional point of view, isn't it? That sudden panic for what seems to be no reason, or that worry. It's that exact same thing. I will, do exactly that from a physical point of view, but actually from a mental health point of view, it's just, and it gives you that pause, doesn't it? That pause and that moment to just reflect, stop and take a breath. So whether it's physical or whether it's emotional, just notice.
And focused breathing is a great way of calming it all down too, isn't it? And that's, again, I suggest to my clients that they might want to like go off and do some focused breathing. And for you, I mean, in the somatics, then you're talking about on the in breath and the out breath, and the breath is very powerful.
And it
helps to calm the nervous system, and it calms you. And if you're in a calmer place, then you're going to be calmer about what's going on in your mind and your body, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And nothing lasts. Nothing lasts. It's that rise and fall, whether physical or emotional. You've frozen on my screen. Hopefully you'll come back. There you are. Suddenly freeze. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, so our message for today really is about being comfortable with feeling uncomfortable.
It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And just sit with that and notice and not feel as if you need to suddenly change it or make it different, make it okay. Just
We don't have to fix everything, do we?
No.
No.
No, absolutely. No.
Cool.
Good.
Okay.
Well, hopefully that will be of interest and help some of our clients, and it's certainly great to talk, and we love talking about this stuff and sharing ideas. And yeah. Let's continue doing this over the week with some more ideas and some more thoughts about stuff around.
We welcome any feedback. That would be great. To know if it's helping you, or if there's anything you'd like us to address. We might be up for it, we might not.
We'll see how we go. We're just putting it out there and seeing what happens. So yeah, let us know, and come back and join us tomorrow.
Great.
We're putting that out there. We'll be back tomorrow.
Take care, stay healthy.